So today I have an absolutely insane tale to tell you. This news, it's about a certain nameless person, about her father going to jail for something horrific. That, it doesn't surprise me, by the way, looking at the other people associated in that family. And the hilarious thing about this, we would have never found out about it at all if it weren't for that nameless person trying to go after JD. She accidentally exposed her family and exposed herself. I'm gonna get you. Never mind. Now, what makes this even more interesting is it can be tied into the JD case. You had that nameless person basically want to claim that this is the kind of stuff that JD, he would do to animals. Hey, his side apparently isn't the one with a history of that. Can that nameless person say the same? No, they can't. Fun times, huh? Fun times indeed. So hey there to all you fine folks on this fine day, by the way. I hope you are doing excellently. And when I saw this at first, I thought, man, this is quite horrific. In fact, I debated on whether or not I would cover this, but the thing that really made me want to cover it wasn't necessarily the deed, but how this deed ended up getting exposed, which we'll talk about in just a minute. So this headline, it comes to us from Radar Online. Now this is one of their exclusives. You can see the headline partially here. I'll read the rest of it as well. But secret exposed. That nameless person's dad jailed for running dog fighting ring, and the rest of the headline says pit bull slain in bloody death matches. So Radar Online, they report that certain nameless person, they've been hiding a deep, dark family secret. Her father ran an illegal dogfighting ring that led to his incarceration. Now, the crazy and hilarious thing about this information, it being a deep, dark family secret, is that it would have remained that way were it not for that nameless person. See, that nameless person, they decided to hire Paul Barisi. Now, if you've never heard the story behind this guy, or even if you have this, it's quite hilarious because it starts up a year ago. Essentially, that nameless person, she ends up hiring a private investigator. She wants that private investigator to end up digging up dirt on JD, but the fixer, that's what they call him, a Hollywood fixer, by the way, he ends up speaking to 100 people and he can't find anything, nothing at all. Quote, I went to the U.S., to France, to Italy, to Britain, everywhere that JD roamed, everywhere he walked. I couldn't find one instance, or at least an admitted one, where he was physically abusive to a woman, smacked or beaten around. He's like an angel, not one who said a deprecating thing. I interviewed dozens of people who knew him going as far back as 3 decades ago, and nobody had one bad thing to say about him. In fact, they couldn't say enough about his ever-flowing outpouring of generosity and tender heart. Now that, it leads to some, how should we put this? Negativity, if you will, with that nameless person's team deciding to go after this guy. They say, we let him go a year ago. This guy hasn't been around us in quite some time, and they also call him a liar. His account is entirely inconsistent with the testimony of multiple witnesses. There you go. They call him a liar. Now here's an object lesson for you. Never ever turn on the Hollywood fixer that you're hiring to do your dirty work. Never go out and never slam them publicly, because you know what might happen? They might be motivated to find out things about you, and they found out quite a few things about that certain nameless person, aka their father, because not only was he arrested for animal cruelty for orchestrating all of this, but there were also narcotics involved. You had other things at issue too. Yeah, that was a secret that she might have wanted to stay buried, but it didn't. Oh no, it didn't at all. Instead, Radar Online, they end up with pertinent documentation. You can see where it's filed. You can see the date across this. This comes to us from the state of Texas. It talks about the complaint, and it's spelled out here, again, in legalese. So this person, they did then and there unlawfully and intentionally and knowingly cause one animal, to wit, a dog, to fight with another dog, to wit, a dog. So 2 dogs, they end up fighting. This guy is running running a dogfighting ring. Now, as far as what that nameless person's father did, it's not necessarily the deed, but how it works into the case that's relevant, and we'll talk about that in just a second. As far as what he did, though, he didn't just do that. He was also found with narcotics, he had professional poker equipment, so he ends up being jailed for 15 days. He has to pay a fee. Basically, he gets to walk away pretty much relatively scot-free, considering what he was charged with and, everything that they found. Now, like I was saying at the beginning of this all links into the trial, the upcoming trial, and the trial that we saw UK 2020, because in one of the incidents, you have that nameless person coming up with this tale, and part of that tale involves JD dangling one of their dogs out of a moving car. Quote, when you were in the car, you were smoking and you opened a window, and you were angry and you were aggressive. The Sun's lawyer, Sasha Watts QC, put it to JD on the witness stand, who replied saying he was, quote, not in that mode at all. He was then accused of holding pistol out of a window and, quote, making howling sounds. JD described this claim as an absolute utter falsity and fraudulent, adding, I don't think hanging an animal, a small defenseless dog that weighs 3 pounds, out of a window is fun. Now, added to that, they tried to bring up something else as well. They tried to say that JD, he would openly joke about putting the dog in the microwave, basically implying that cruelty, you can see it. And he said, you know what, that was a running joke between myself, between that nameless person, and others that were around. Quote, I wouldn't say that I was the inventor of that particular joke, and also, I wasn't the only one who brought up anything like that. That's what he told the court. Fascinating, isn't it, that every accusation that the nameless person tries to throw at JD, they have some connection to those accusations themselves. The animal thing, for example, well, they have a family connection to it. JD doesn't have any, but that person does. Also, the things that they said JD did to them, yeah, they have connection to that themselves. 2009, Tasha Van Ree, they were actually arrested for it. And the fascinating thing about this stuff here, they can't blame Adam Waldman or JD for putting this article out there. It was brought up by their own Hollywood fixer. They hired somebody to throw around the dirt. And you know what they did? They threw around a lot of dirt, but look at who it stuck to. Oops indeed. But anyway, let me know what you think about this stuff. Always, too, I appreciate the heck out of you. You make this stuff work. I cannot say that enough. Thank you. Also, you want to help out the channel? Links in the description. Check all of those out. We got some sexy toast out there, too, if you want to pick that up. Look at our merchandising. But you being here, that matters. So thank you. I appreciate you. I'm going to end right here with a see you soon and a thank you once more.